About time he stopped supporting you. Her laugh didn't rise. It sliced sideways, sharp and careless, and landed right between the plates. The roast was still steaming. My fork froze halfway to my mouth. The room smelled like garlic and something burnt underneath it. My name is Elena. I'm 38. When did love quietly turn into a debt everyone felt entitled to audit? I had nodded when my husband said it 2 nights earlier. He stood in our kitchen, tie loosened, promotion letter folded neatly in his pocket like a winning card. Separate bank accounts, he said, smiling like this was progress. Like it was fair. I nodded because nodding had become muscle memory. Because resistance always came with consequences I paid for later. Now his sister sat at my table. My table. Her eyes dragged over the food I cooked, the candles I lit, the clean plates I paid for. She smirked, wiping her mouth with a napkin I'd ironed that afternoon. He didn't correct her. He chewed slowly. Avoided my eyes. Silence, thick as syrup. I noticed strange details then. The way the chair across from me looked slightly pulled back like it was saving space for someone else. The way my wedding ring felt heavier than usual, pressing into my skin like it was trying to leave a mark before disappearing. Relax, his sister added lightly, tapping her glass. It's a joke. Jokes are supposed to make everyone laugh. I was the only one not smiling. I reached for my water. My hand shook once. Just once. No one noticed. In that moment something settled inside me, not anger, not sadness. Clarity. Cold and exact. Like realizing the house you're standing in has been empty for a long time, and you were just the last one still turning on the lights. The silence didn't break after her laugh. It stretched. I felt it crawl under my skin into the small spaces I'd been ignoring for years. I set my glass down carefully, listening to the soft click against the table like punctuation no one asked for. My husband finally spoke, but not to me. You want more wine? He asked his sister. She nodded, pleased. I watched him stand, open a bottle I bought last week and pour generously. For her. The chair across from me scraped slightly as he leaned past it, and again I had the strange thought that it was waiting. Not for me. Never for me. Must feel good, she said, swirling her glass, to finally stop carrying dead weight. Dead weight. She didn't look at me when she said it. He didn't have to. My name hung invisibly in the air. I smiled. Not because I felt it. Because smiling had become a survival skill. I'll clear the plates, I said, standing before anyone could answer. In the kitchen the sink light hummed. Too loud. I stacked dishes slowly, my fingers brushing dried sauce, crumbs, evidence of effort. Through the doorway their voices softened, conspiratorial. I caught fragments. She never paid for anything, right? Yeah. I mean, not really. Not really. I thought of the mortgage payment I'd scheduled that morning. The utilities in my name. The emergency fund I'd quietly rebuilt after he borrowed from it 3 years ago and never paid it back. I stared at my reflection in the microwave door. It looked thinner. Not older. Just edited. Like parts of me had been cropped out over time. When I returned to the table they were laughing again. My chair was slightly farther from the table now, nudged back without anyone admitting it. I sat anyway. I realized then that this wasn't about money. It was about permission. And tonight they had decided I no longer had any. I sat through the rest of dinner like a guest who had overstayed. Every sound felt amplified. The clink of cutlery, the swallow of wine, the low hum of the refrigerator kicking on and off like it was breathing for me. His sister leaned back, satisfied. You know, she said casually, this new system will be good for everyone. Accountability. He glanced at me then finally. Her eyes flicked to my ring, then away. Dismissed. My husband nodded. Exactly. Clean slate. Clean. As if something dirty had been dragged in and needed managing. I collected plates again, slower this time. I let the silence work. In the kitchen I didn't turn on the light. I stood in the dim, holding a plate, listening to them talk about vacations. A beach. Somewhere warm. Just as siblings, she said. No distractions. No one said my name. That was louder than any insult. When I came back, dessert was already served. Store-bought cake. My favorite kind once. The slice on my plate was smaller than the others. Maybe accidental. Maybe not. Everything okay? My husband asked, finally meeting my eyes. His voice was neutral. Polite. The way you speak to someone you don't want to invite into a decision. I'm fine, I said. And I was. That was the strange part. The hurt had settled into something solid. Useful. Like a key. I noticed the envelope on the counter then. White. Unmarked. Tucked under his promotion papers. Our mail pile. My name wasn't on it. Later that night, after his sister left and the house returned to its careful quiet, I stood alone in the kitchen. The chair was still pulled back. Waiting. I reached for the envelope. Not to open it yet. Just to feel its weight. Because some truths don't explode. They whisper first. I didn't open the envelope that night. I slid it back where it was, aligned the edges like nothing had shifted, and went to bed beside a man who slept easily. His breathing was even. Practiced. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling fan cutting slow circles through the dark, each rotation measuring something I couldn't name yet. Morning came quietly. Too quietly. I made coffee. The smell filled the kitchen, familiar and comforting, and for a moment I almost forgot. Almost. Then I saw the chair again, still slightly out of place, like a witness no one had dismissed. After he left for work, I opened the envelope. Inside were bank documents. New ones. An account I didn't recognize. His name. His sister's name. Not mine. A neat little structure built while I was budgeting groceries and paying down credit cards we supposedly shared. There was a note in his handwriting, careless and rushed. Just moving things around. Easier this way. Easier for who? I sat at the table and ran my fingers along the wood grain. This table had been a wedding gift. From my parents. I remembered my mother saying, "It'll hold you together during hard years." I wondered if she meant literally. My phone buzzed. A text from him. "Hope you're not upset about last night. You know how she jokes." I didn't reply. Instead I opened my laptop. Logged into accounts he'd forgotten I had access to. Old passwords. Old trust. Numbers lined up on the screen, telling a story no one had bothered to tell me out loud. Outside, a car alarm went off and stopped abruptly. The sudden silence felt deliberate. I closed the laptop, folded the envelope and placed it inside my purse. Not as evidence.as confirmation. I didn't confront him when he came home that evening. I watched him loosen his tie in the mirror, smiling at himself like the reflection owed him something. The mirror caught me too, standing behind him, quiet. He didn't turn around. Dinner was leftovers. He ate without comment. Comfortable again. That confidence settled on him fast, like a coat he'd been waiting to wear. Later, when he showered, I sat at the table with my laptop open and the envelope beside it. The house felt different now. Not hostile. Exposed. Like a stage after the lights go out. I followed the trail carefully. Transfers. Small at first. Then larger. Money moved in ways that assumed no one was watching. His sister's name appeared more often than it should have. Notes like temporary and just holding. Funny how permanent those words looked in a spreadsheet. My phone buzzed. A message from her this time. No hard feelings about Sunday. You know how sensitive you can be. Sensitive. I imagined her saying it with that same sideways laugh. I typed nothing back. Silence felt heavier. More accurate. The chair across from me creaked slightly as the air shifted. It sounded almost impatient. I opened a new document and began listing dates. Amounts. Accounts. I didn't rush. Precision matters when people underestimate you. From the bathroom, the shower stopped. Steam curled down the hallway like it was searching for something. I closed the laptop just as he walked out, towel around his waist, relaxed. "You okay?" he asked again, like a script he hadn't memorized properly. I smiled. Just tired. And I was. Tired enough to finally stop caring what was never meant to be shared. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I left the house without telling him where I was going. The air outside felt sharper, like it had edges. I drove with the radio off, listening to the sound of tires on asphalt, each red light stretching just long enough for my thoughts to line up. I kept seeing that spreadsheet in my head. Columns. Numbers. His confidence living inside them. I parked downtown and sat in the car for a full minute before getting out. My hands were steady. That surprised me. The building smelled like old paper and lemon cleaner. Quiet. Respectful. The kind of place where voices lower on instinct. The woman at the desk looked up and smiled professionally. Not warmly. Precisely. "I'd like to speak to someone about my marital finances," I said. The word marital felt heavier than it should have. Like it was already past tense. While I waited, I noticed a small crack in the wall near the chair across from me. The paint had split but never fallen. Someone had decided it was easier not to fix it. I wondered how long it had been there. The attorney listened without interrupting. That alone felt unfamiliar. I slid the envelope across the desk. Then my notes. Then I logged into my laptop and turned the screen toward her. She didn't react at first. She read. Carefully. Her pen stopped moving once. Just once. This wasn't an accident, she said quietly. I nodded. I know. She looked at me then. Really looked. You have options. Options. The word settled into me slowly, like warmth returning to a room you didn't realize had been cold for years. When I got back to the car, my phone buzzed. A missed call from my husband. Then a text. We need to talk tonight. My sister has an idea. I stared at the message, then locked the screen. So did I. Dinner was already on the table when I got home. Not leftovers this time. Takeout from the place his sister liked. The good containers. The expensive ones. He sat straighter than usual, like he was hosting something official. She was already there. Perfect timing, she said, smiling too fast. We were just talking about you. Of course they were. I set my bag down slowly. I didn't sit right away. I watched the steam rise from the food, curl, disappear. The chair across from mine was pulled back again. Waiting. Always waiting. My husband cleared his throat. We've been thinking, he said, using me like a shield. About the accounts. About fairness. His sister leaned in. With your flexible schedule, she said gently, mockingly gentle, it makes sense for you to take a step back financially. Less pressure on you. Step back. From what? From the bills I paid? The safety nets I rebuilt? The years I covered while he chased promotions and applause? She slid a folder toward me. White. Clean. Labeled neatly. Inside was a proposal. Her handwriting in the margins. Suggestions. Boundaries. A monthly allowance. The word support used like a leash. I didn't open my mouth. Silence can be instructive. They mistook it for agreement. See, she said, laughing softly. She gets it. I looked at my husband then. Really looked. He wouldn't meet my eyes. His reflection stared back at him from the darkened window, nodding along. I closed the folder. Fully. Carefully. The sound was small but final. In that moment, I understood something with absolute clarity. They believed the story they'd written about me. They just didn't know I had already rewritten the ending. That night, I waited until the house was quiet. No clinking glasses, no soft laughter, no low hum of the refrigerator. Just the occasional tick of the wall clock and the faint whisper of the wind outside. I carried the folder from the dinner table straight to my office, where my laptop was open, documents ready. Every number, every transfer, every assumption they'd made, I turned it into a map. A blueprint of their blind spots. I didn't call him. I didn't confront his sister. I didn't even announce my move. I let the silence do the work. Emails sent automatically. Accounts transferred. Notices filed. Slowly, imperceptibly, their control unraveled while they slept, confident in their superiority. Morning came. He walked into the kitchen expecting breakfast and quiet compliance. Instead, the kitchen was empty. The folder was gone. His coffee untouched. My purse on the table. The chair across from him pushed back. Waiting. He found the notifications first. The transfers. The legal confirmations. Then the balance statements. He read them like someone decoding a language he never learned. His sister called. He tried laughing. Tried rationalizing. Tried blaming. I didn't answer. I watched from the doorway, calm, measured, untouchable. You've done what? He finally whispered, eyes wide. The man who laughed at my presence, at my efforts, at my restraint, realized his empire was gone. Not just the money, but the power he'd thought was his by default. I smiled softly, like someone noticing a long-forgotten sunrise. I just took care of things, I said. No triumph. Just clarity. Quiet dignity. The kind that comes when betrayal no longer has a hold on you, and the people who doubted you finally see the reflection of their own mistakes. Outside, the wind picked up, curling around the house like it knew. And for the first time in years, I felt nothing heavy pressing down. Just the clean air of control returned, the kind that cannot be borrowed, stolen, or mocked. I turned off the lights. Closed the door. Let the silence fill the space they once thought was theirs. And in that quiet I understood. Some lessons are permanent. Some justice doesn't need witnesses.